she see me?
Yeah,
hey,
live.
darling.
You're live.
Hey, you're live.
Good afternoon, Atlanta. Welcome to Veterans Today. You're listening to WCEG Network on WCEG Talk Radio. Watch us live on Facebook or YouTube. I will give you the rest of those instructions in a minute. My name is Herman Anderson. I'm one of the co-hosts. My other co-host is Anthony Aikens, and Gus is working. Our guest today is Rev McGhee. We will get to that in a minute, but let me tell you how you can listen to us. You can listen to us on your smart TV by going to YouTube and subscribing. We're live on Facebook. Listen to us on your smartphone, as I said, by going to WCEG Radio. You can log in by going to www.wcegtalkradio.com and www.wcegradio.com. You like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and I say my name is Herman Anderson, and we are WCEG Network. We are Veterans Today. We're here to empower the worldwide community and speak life in the community. Anthony?
How you doing there, Herman? Listen, folks, it's a joy every week to collaborate with Herman and get ourselves prepared for a show that we impart the truth, especially in these troubling times, especially in these times where we're getting all kinds of calls from people about veteran issues. But the most important fact right now that we need to think about is voting. So as part of this team, and we've been together now going on 6 years of doing what we do, it's our moral obligation to tell you the truth. That's the bottom line for us. And every time that we come on this show, you can see us on Facebook Live or YouTube or Zoom, whatever. You'll know that you'll be getting factual, up-to-date information of importance to you and your family. So Herman, it's good to see you again. And Pastor McGhee, thank you very much for being with us and welcome back from DC.
Rev McGhee, give us a brief introduction. You pretty much a regular, but let the listeners know what are some of the things you're doing for veterans.
Well, I'm still president of Vietnam Veterans of America Atlanta chapter, where we are doing the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam Memorial Wall as our major project right now. And that project is still on schedule. We are to have this memorial monument erected in Piedmont Park by Veterans Day 2021. So we are on that, and we got our first major fundraisers going out in the community for that. We like one of the caps that I have on, and we're having a vegan luncheon outing in November at the regional high. So we'll be getting more information out about that. Just trying to raise funds to build a memorial. Now, the other thing, Herman, I'm also the chairman of Veteran Affairs for Vietnam Veterans of America, Georgia State Council. And this past weekend, I presented a motion to Georgia State Council to ask the president and the Congress to give service-connected disabled veterans a 30% across the board pay increase for our monthly compensation. If you compare our income with the income of our peers who were not, did not go into the military and then become service-connected disabled from their service, our income is not a third of the income of our peers. I like to use my younger sister as my peer because she was just 1 year behind me in high school. Well, when she retired and before she passed, she was making $125,000 a year in her job capacity. But a disabled veteran in the United States of America, single disabled veteran, income right now is still below $50,000. Matter of fact, it's below $40,000. So we feel very much like we're not saying that the president and his base feel like we are suckers and losers. We're not saying they said that, but we can say that they treat us like suckers and losers with this income that we're getting every month to try to live in this economy. So we are asking all veterans and supporters and family members to go on change.org and sign this petition, because we believe this. Some of us believe that Trump is the best thing since apple pie. So let's give him a chance to prove himself. Let's ask him for this.
Okay, let's do this during this hour. Let's talk about voting, and voting not only for president, but voting for senators, attorney generals, county commissioners, and also how many veterans there are in Georgia. As Anthony mentioned during our conversation this morning, it's over 700,000 veterans in Georgia, and that's 7% of the eligible voters. So let's talk about voting. Let's talk about Agent Orange. I know that's we all can relate to that, the three of us, and we have a lot of veterans out there. So Anthony, you're first.
Well, you know what? It's something that's always on my mind. Pastor McGhee, compensation. That's one thing. I just had a conversation on yesterday with a former U.S. State Department employee of over 35 years. And we were talking about compensation, how they are compensated after 35 years of non-combat related services, but they can get disability based on where they are. And then the compensation of our congressmen and senators who get full retirement benefits, 100% of their pay when they retire, even after just 4 years. So it is very important for us to vote. 700,000 plus veterans in the state of Georgia alone. So you extrapolate that to the 50 plus states that we have. The voting block of veterans is very, very significant. So on WCEG Talk Radio or Network, we need to continue to push and to educate and empower people to know that their vote counts. Their vote does not count if they don't vote. And it's appalling to me, especially among individuals who are not physically disabled or whatever way, that they don't take that right to vote. That's something many people have paid the ultimate sacrifice for us to endure what we are enduring now. Somewhat of a freedom, but yet we're still not free. We're not still financially free. We're still not free in a lot of areas. There's not equal pay. There's still issues with housing. There's still issues with voting. There's still that disparity that people of color are not even considered equal in 2020. And that's appalling. I mean, I read a story yesterday about a retiring policeman, a major in the Louisville Police Department, a female, a major. And the way she talked so despairingly about people of color, and people would say, wait a minute, hold up. What are you talking about? She said, well, I can say what I want. I'm retiring in 6 days. So here's a person who's proliferated that bias, that craziness, her entire time in her police department job, that she's allowed to retire. But look at the racism, the whatever isms that she's proliferated through her entire time. So we got to vote. We have to vote.
And just let me, before we go to you, Rev McGhee, this numbers came from the VFW. Today, there are 2.1 million U.S. service members and 20 million veterans, including spouses, surviving parents, and voting age children. This powerful voting bloc exceeds 100 million people. So with a voting block like that, veteran can have a lot of say. What is your next, Rev McGhee?
I'm glad you guys are talking about voting. And Herman, you've been knowing me for a few years. I think back in 2012, I wrote the voters manifesto. See, one of the things that we recognize is that veterans go to the poll in the high 90s. Unfortunately, we have a large number of those individuals now that have been aligned by the Trump administration. Let me just say it for the radio, and the Republican Party. So they just voted party lines, and they are operating under the illusions that these that the current administration or any administration, as far as I'm concerned, has not fulfilled its commitment to veterans. And I think that our predicament, our plight should become the reason we vote. Carl Aikens pointed out one thing. We need to vote up and down the stratum, from dog catcher all the way back up to president. Not making sure we look at the Senate, the House of Representatives, the governorships in this country, the mayors, because the mayors hire the police. It appears that we've seen lately, though, that the mayors have very little control over the police, or we got mayors that would turn their back and let the police do whatever they feel they need to do to so-called protect and serve. We need to make sure that not only we're voting that, but we're electing people that's going to represent their people, the best interest of the people. We've gotten now where we elect these people, then we don't give them anything specific to do, so we let them tell us what they're gonna do. Now, compensation should have been on the board a long time ago, and these elections as far as veterans is concerned, but the way that we are separated, we have just voting party lines. What we need to do, I'm saying that my vote is going to be influenced by what I see them do for veterans. That's what's going to influence my vote. You know, I'm appealing to every veteran to do the same. You know, we done got so involved in politics. We are fighting each other over party politics and not the real issues that we have to deal with every day in this country. Now, we know that choice didn't work and community care is not working the way it's supposed to be working for veterans. I don't care what they say. I can put my personal case on the table and show them that VA is not performing the job that it needs to perform for me and a lot of the veterans I know. And we need to make sure that we are electing somebody. Another issue, talking about electing, the Agent Orange. Now we know that it's ongoing research about what this protein is doing in our body. But we do know medically that it's been linked to hypertension. For the last 8 years now, they had the opportunity to put this on the presumptive list at VA. Did they do it? No. Why? Who got more hypertension cases than anybody else? We don't have to just keep saying the same thing. We need to recognize some of these things and put our vote to work. Malcolm said it best. We haven't reached a stage in this country right now where it's going to be the ballot or the bullet. And we didn't cause this. This is something that's being pushed on us right this very minute. So voting is not just important, it's imperative. And we need to know exactly how to target our vote.
That's true. And we'll do a little bit, we'll talk a little bit about advocacy in a few minutes. Anthony, what's next on your agenda?
Well, right now, with the I think we should really put a lot of time in this voting. It has been on my mind, and as Pastor McGhee just mentioned, how it is affecting our life. We're already 30 to 40% behind others when it comes to pay, but we have given the ultimate sacrifice for the defense of our nation. We have a country of over 200 million people, but yet only 1% on the military protecting the masses. Many have paid that ultimate sacrifice to keep our borders free. And for those that still remain as a result of their services to this country and this nation, they have become afflicted with various types of illnesses, from Agent Orange to mental health issues, to lack of proper care in the VA system, which is the largest in the United States. But you just heard him say about the incompetencies of not putting enough time into making sure a program works for the benefit of those that serve. The choice program didn't work. Now he's talking about another program that he's involved with intimately that's still not working. Yet we have a cabinet position that is so unstable at the top that we've had 4 different cabinet members in the job in the last 4 years. So something's wrong with this administration. And we as voters have a right, a moral obligation to make change. And if we don't, woe be to you for the next 4 years, because we have an administration that doesn't care.
You're exactly right. And let's talk about a process, how we make changes, because Anthony, Rev McGhee, and myself, we all encourage veterans to get involved with the VSO, Veteran Service Organization. And Rev McGhee actually has one. I have a nonprofit, so does Anthony. And what we just finished, we are talking about voting and putting people in office. Let's just use an example as a congressman. Then the process that we should be, as veterans and as veterans that are dealing with disability claims, medical claims, or whatever, the process is in place, but we need to do a better job, the organization and the veterans and people in the community, advocating for veterans and lobbying for veterans, really, so that people that we voted for, if we are in the position, the congressmen and the senators, those are the people that are in the position to make some decisions about veteran benefits and how we get treated. So we should be, in my opinion, putting pressure on those people we put them in office. If we go out and vote, we put them in office. So then we should follow up and make sure they're doing something for veterans. What's your thoughts on that, Rev McGhee?
That's why I started the petition. That's open up the conversation. This is a kitchen table issue, what we're talking about. Now, we got 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia. Let's see how they're gonna stand up for themselves. See, the problem with voting is that we got some people that don't want to spend no time vetting the issue, actually vetting the issue. So they take what a politician say it is, or say they're gonna do, and they don't follow through. So they just go with the party line kind of thing. But what we've got in this petition is an opportunity for us to ask our senators and the president of the United States to exercise some economic justice toward service-connected disabled veterans. You know, look at the economy. The price of, the billionaires have made more money since the pandemic started than some of us think we don't realize how much money is still being generated in this country by multinational corporations that ain't even paying taxes. So we actually need to be talking this conversation in the community every day, because we need to re-educate some of our veterans that then got bogged down in party politics. Tell them, just look at their bank account. Look at their bank account when they get their disability check after they done paid all their bills and see what they got.
Well, you know what? Yeah, you know what you meant? You mentioned something that's so important. Politics is about money and power. And the rich get richer, the powerful get more powerful. So it is really upon us, as you just eloquently stated, the power to vote. If you just extrapolate 700,000 veterans here in Georgia, and just say extrapolate that number throughout the 50 plus United States and its territories, think about that number. I just saw something the other day that talked about the swing states and the number of people, especially people of color, that didn't vote. Just in the state of Georgia, President Trump won by less than 100,000 votes. But there were more than 500,000 people of color that didn't vote. Didn't think it was important to vote.
Yeah.
And if you go to the other swing states, Florida, Michigan, California, Texas, all those other swing states, and the apathy of those individuals that didn't vote, didn't take the time to vote, and then for 4 years complain with the incompetencies that come out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, who is really trying now because he has billionaires behind them to get him back in the office. Why? It's because money. It's wealth and power. Never forget that. So we have to, the masses, understand, as we say in the military, the rules of engagement. And the rules of engagement is get your lazy butt up on whatever day it is, the 3rd of November, and take yourself and others with you to the poll.
Well, that's exactly what we, as Rev McGhee was saying, that's what we need to do. Let me take a break and tell the listeners that you're listening to WCEG Network Radio. We are live streaming. You can watch us on Facebook and YouTube by subscription. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And you can log in at your desktop at www.wcegtalkradio.com and at www.wcegradio.com. And I'm Herman Anderson, Anthony Aiken, Rev McGhee, and we will continue this conversation. And please follow us on Facebook and the other social media. So let's talk about grassroots effort with the disruption that we're dealing with the unhappiness that we have with people in certain cities, including Atlanta, in the streets every night. So how would you guys say that we can motivate those people to go to the polls also?
I think that most of these young people that's in the streets today, not actually in the street protesting, don't go to the polls. I think it's those that are not protesting that we need to still reach. We have a large number of our young people that are so empathetic, as the panel pointed out. They're so empathetic to the role of politics in our lives, until we got to make them understand it's all about the control and distribution of wealth. Now, if you ain't got nobody that represent you when they cutting the pie, you're gonna get crumbs off the table. And that's what we continue to see coming into our community. We still have people that didn't follow the census right. And then this administration jumps in and try to stop the count of that. So we have to look at and on a local level, what are we doing? How are we engaging these politicians to bring them into the fold of veterans interests? Recently, I proposed to our county commission, Fulton County Commission, to set up a veterans oversight commission to help veterans in Fulton County maximize the receipt and usage of their benefits to help their economic wealth. See, one of the things that we have to keep realizing that even though we are a federally funded entity, we live on the local level. We live in counties and cities, and we need to know the mayors and the county commissioners. And we need to start. Just recently, I had a veteran come to me talking about she needed help with her house because her house needed repairs. Okay, Fulton County got money to do that. Why don't veterans know about that in these counties? Because we getting county commission. I said something to one of my county commissioners, the chairman, matter of fact, and I hope he listened. I asked him about the surplus properties that Fulton County Act that we want to convert back to the community use for veterans and the community. He asked me, where's the foreclosed property that I don't know nothing about them. I said, you need to look at your website, Chairman. See, some of these folks just think we politically dumb or dead. So we got to educate these young people, you know, the people that don't see that their vote counts, that we got to let them, we got to show them where their vote counts. Like the mayors and hiring these police and not having a screening process for police. Now, I was a combat soldier and I was trained to be a combat. I was trained, Herman, to shoot to kill and to shoot to maim. You don't have to kill everybody, you shoot to stop them. And I got a problem with police shooting people in the back. You know, we got to have policies and laws to stop this kind of stuff. But if we are not voting for the mayors and the city councils and the county commissioners, and we don't know these people, I got these people where they see me coming home, they go across the street. It's Rev McGhee. We'll see you, good to see you. And they're trying to get away from it because they know I got something to say.
You put them on the hot seat whereby they need to be accountable.
They don't want you to ask them for nothing that you.
They don't want you to ask them. They don't want to be accountable.
That's right.
And they've gotten to the point, excuse me, of utilizing buzzwords and phrases to fit a situation to appease the mass. Mm-hmm. When you get to the riffraff and you button them down to specific questions, that's when they start to do what you talked about, moving on, I hate to see you come. Because in most cases, we tend to, as a population, vote for the popular candidate, but not vote for the candidate that's stressing the issues. You said something very early. I vote for the individual that fits the needs and wants and desires of the veteran. We need to keep that in mind. What are you talking about in support of those that protect you and your family and the borders that we enjoy with freedom that we have? And even though that freedom is so scarred up with all the racism going on, because we're voting or not voting and not knowing the candidates, and then the wrong individual gets into the office. We have a high court right now with 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Before he gets out of office, January 21, is trying to slide in another conservative to the highest court in this land. What does this do? This sways the power of the board of the Supreme Court. It will sway the power of this country because you have 9 individuals in a lifetime job. Only death caused him to lose that seat. So if you have somebody who's the sitting Supreme Court judge, who's in his early 50s, we just had Justice Ginsburg to pass, and she's in her late age. So we're talking 30 plus years of this guy, who's a strict conservative, who could make decisions that are going to affect generations. So voting, I can't implore you enough to get out and vote, but vote for the right candidates that's going to take care of you, your family, and this nation.
And one of the things that I want to add to that, when you elect the right people, they will honor their oath. You know, like we honored our oath when we went into the military. You know, when we get a politician that will stand in our face and tell, well, I'm not gonna honor my oath. I'm already made up my mind. I'm not gonna be impartial. Or you get a Supreme Court judge that candidate that tells you what goes around comes around. That means that he's holding some animosities towards some people that question his fitness to be on the Supreme Court. So we need to have people in office that will impeach these people. That's one of the ways we can get them out of the seat when they're wrong. You know, but if we don't vote, if we don't understand the importance and the power of our vote, then we need to be teaching our community this 24/7. Because right now, as we speak, our way of life is in jeopardy. It's actually in jeopardy. We got a president that got the audacity to try to put doubt in the voting process.
Rev McGhee, what you said, teaching our community. I number one, in the last election in 2018, general national election, only 60% of the eligible voters voted nationwide. Mm-hmm. But what I'm getting to is Generation Z, which is the younger people, 18 to 25. Then you have the millennium. Really, those are the two biggest blocks of voters that go decide the election either by voting or not voting. So let's start with the young people, 18 to 25. And some of them are not interested in voting. Some of them still haven't been convinced that voting is important, and they have all kinds of reasons as why they are not voting.
Now,
so how do we address that?
Well, it's being addressed as we talk. I'm just proud to see and recognize that some of these young entertainers, young athletes are talking to this generation that you are speaking about right now, asking them and trying to educate. And I think that we should join that choir. I mean, you know, we see T.I. on TV all the time, reaching out to this young voting crew. We got to do more, though. We got to do more. We got to encourage that. But I think in a lot of cases, we got to do more. We got to make this more of a visible effort every day. Now, I'm saying these young entertainers are really doing a good job in their areas, but it's needed more. But I think that they're gonna have a real impact this time coming around. But we got to keep preaching the same message. They got to vote. But yeah, I agree that we got to do more. And I think that looking at these young entertainers and some of these sport stars are pushing the votes now. They're talking out. They're reaching out to this very demographic that you're talking about. So we just got to encourage that to keep moving.
You know, that's really important, because if you think about the early, late 60s, early 70s, where you had prominent African-American athletes taking on social issues. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jim Brown, all these men, Bill Russell, these men were stepping out front, and then all of a sudden it dropped off when that new crew, a wave of multi-millionaire kids, because of a sport. The majority realized, again, power and money, when the news media and these corporate people get together and say, we have a LeBron James at age 16 in Akron, Ohio, is going to change the game of basketball. So let's make him bigger than anything. And all of a sudden, their wealth start to go up because what? The majority start to come to the game to watch this phenom, as they call him. Not a talented young man, but he's a phenom in the sport of basketball. But why? Let's promote him. Let's even give him $20 million. That's a drop in the bucket from what we're going to get. But in the meantime, we're not going to turn any of that wealth that we garnered from this young African-American male back into the community where he came from. Okay? So now let's fast forward to what he did when he stepped out there and built a school in his hometown. It changed the paradigm shift among Black athletes. The Michael Jordans, all the others who were given behind the scenes, as they said, are now more prolific in getting involved with social rights issues. To me, the pro football players that are men of color should be protesting that Colin Kaepernick be given an opportunity to play back in the NFL. They're not standing up.
Now, Colin, there was some movement in that direction. I don't think it was enough steam with it, but they had this walkout this year. Not all the teams are putting money back into the neighborhoods, as you just pointed out. Now, how do we follow through on that and see how far that's gonna go? They done stepped out there now because of everybody just decided that they were gonna walk off, and they did.
Yeah, and I agree. But that was just a recent time, and I agree and I applaud that. I mean,
hey, listen. I started saying at that point, they done brought the whole NFL back around to this conversation. Finally. Now these same athletes are talking about the vote. They are talking about the vote. That's what makes me so excited.
I'm excited too.
Finally it's happening. Now all we got to do is encourage these young people that we know that's standing on the corner. Listen, do something with yourself. Take advantage of these freedoms that you got. Because see, when we open back up, we need to address this income disparity with.
So let's just use an example. Coming up now, all state arena is open. So do you think with the Hawks getting involved and the athletes getting involved, we're gonna be able to get more people that are eligible to vote go vote?
Just see what you just did is tap into that base interest. This is leisure. These are the people that they follow online. These are their stars. These are their heroes. See, I'm sorry, Herman, we ain't their heroes, bro. But we recognize that they got some heroes that we can work with them. So see, some of these young folks now, when you say veteran in their presence, they know what we did, bro. So we'll always be the old heroes, but they got some new heroes now, and we need to push them out there on them, and they're doing a great job. I'm just so excited about it, Herman, until it just blows my mind when I see some of these young people on television and him on the radio talking about get out the vote and talking crazy to their own generation. I said, Lord, thank you. That's all.
I'm the same way. I'm happy.
That is happening, and we should just keep praying that it keep happening. I want to know what I can do to help it. I'm a sports fan. Whatever I can do to help these young athletes and entertainers drive this message to their constituency. And they got the power. They're the heroes of the community today. So we got them doing it. We just got to keep pushing keep pushing it, and keep feeding them too. Now they know about the vote. We got to tell them about the politics. They ain't gonna run all that really fast. So we got to get behind some of these young people that's running for office. And let me say this too: we got more veterans running for office than I ever seen before.
That's good.
And we got some veterans in that Georgia state, under that Georgia dome too, that we got to get up under, man, because we can make some changes in the state of Georgia. We can make some changes in the state of Georgia. We can get back to what we started trying to do back before Lewis left us, and build that coalition of organizations, so we can teach more. We can be out there teaching and pushing behind the scenes with these young people that's protesting. Because see, what is happening, the protest, the Black Lives Movement has been infiltrated with distractors that's given, I think some of them are trucking that are doing these crazy stuff. And you know how little Willie is on the corner. If he sees somebody doing something crazy that's stealing, he's gonna jump in there, he's gonna jump there with him. So they're looting. We have to address those kind of issues to help these kids stop being manipulated like that. See, because the conservative media taking all of that stuff and trying to make like this the Black Lives Matter protesters that's causing all this problem, this violence. And we know better.
We know better than that.
We know better. We know better. So we got to help. We got to help this out a little bit, because they keeping us messed up with misinformation. We got the information. That's the good part about what you guys are doing. You're getting the information. You're putting it in the community. You got to just keep on doing that. We just got to get more people doing this, what you guys are doing now.
Well, you know, we got to make sure that our entertainers are not like what the OJs always talk about, backstabbers. You know what I mean? They smile in your face.
Well,
all the time they're stabbing you in the back.
That's why we got to stay connected with this movement.
That is true. And before, excuse me, before we get through this hour quickly, which time is doing, let's talk about COVID-19 and the VA, and for example, the appointments that telemedicine, getting your prescriptions and all of that as we function in this COVID-19 environment.
Well, from a personal standpoint, before Pastor McGhee, I'm utilizing the system to the max. You know, I'm doing the telemedicine. I get my medications through the VA that's sent to me at home. But the key thing for me, and I'm sure with you two, and we need to make sure the others do, is we hold them accountable. We got to hold them accountable. And now that we're in this pandemic environment, and we know that we don't know when this thing's going to end. So we're going to be involved with this telemedicine and all of these things for months to come. So it has changed the paradigm. It has changed the paradigm shift. I wonder often, how do those veterans that go to the VA every day just for fellowship is handling it? You know, we know that veterans go there every day just to see other veterans, because that's what they call home, where they feel safe and secure. But now that that's all shut down, and we're in this pandemic and everything is telemedicine or whatever it has really caused the VA system to even be more of a tailspin. So we need to push every week, Herman, every week on this show, keeping the pressure on voting, and keeping the pressure in people understanding what the VA is about and how it's affecting us during this COVID-19.
Rev McGhee.
Taking a kind of a proactive position dealing with the virus. I'm looking at it as a wall that we are involved with. Now, in every wall, there's propaganda, misinformation, and confusion. That's what comes with war. And that's what we got going on with the COVID virus. So I've connected with county government again, and became involved with giving out masks. You know, we've given out over 4,500 masks in 40 counties. Fulton County gave us 5,000 masks, and I probably got about 500 of them left. And we're going to get another 5,000 to make sure. Because what I'm saying, I'm actually talking with people about voting when I'm giving them the mask. Because these are some of the young people that not taking the virus serious. I'm always in the community, passing out masks, giving out masks, and trying to make sure that our people understand that this is a very serious problem with us. And we need to try to protect ourselves the best way we can. And I think the simplest way, the best defense against the virus, the spread of the virus, is wearing a mask. So we're doing that now. I have connected up with Gene Care and connected up with VA. Actually, I went out to VA to pass out some masks and picked up some equipment, because what Aiken pointed out is very critical now. None of the groups are meeting. And the sad part with our generation, we are not Zoom literate yet. I mean, I just got into Zoom myself since the pandemic started. But you got some people walking around that our generation still got a flip phone, so they can't even get online on the phone. So we got to come up with better ways now. I've been holding meetings on Zoom, staying in touch with my members. I do that, but that's a real consideration and concern from how do we reach these brothers that and some of them are really having some tough times without the group. But otherwise, telemedicine is working. It works pretty good for people that's vested and can go through the system to navigate the system well enough to get what they need. So that part is working, because we have to keep in mind one reason that gotta work. If they don't have these encounters, that mess with their budget.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's all about the money.
What did I say earlier? Power and money. Power and money.
Yeah. And another thing that I do, I encourage our veterans to use My Healthy Vet for you to make your appointments, to update them. You can also order your prescription online, and the technology part of it is with COVID-19 and with the isolation. My Healthy Vet, and as you know, e-benefits, those two systems are very important for our veterans to use.
And you know what? I do a thing, I do the monthly claim clinic. We're going on Zoom to start that because of, we still got people that don't want to come out, but they need information. We are encouraging and assisting everybody to get registered in e-benefits. Now, I'm going to tell you what's happening with that system. They're shifting a lot of stuff out of e-benefits into .gov. I don't know why they're doing that. It looks like every time we start learning something and getting used to something, they confuse it. They're shifting a lot of the stuff that was in e-benefits now over to va.gov. So that's giving us another website that we got. But I've been registering everybody with the same password, so they can go through this system in a seamless kind of way. Because you're right, Herman, they need to know how to use it, because this is VA's way of doing business with us. And after the pandemic is under control, they ain't gonna let that go.
Well, you know what? These points are very, very important, because you just heard now that there are over 200,000 deaths in the United States as a result of COVID. And if we can extrapolate that down, how many of those deaths are veterans? So it's important that veterans out there take care of themselves and their families by making sure that they have their DD Form 214, which is very, very important. We just had a guest on 3 weeks ago from a funeral home, and he talked about what the mortuary services does for families in the event that a service member dies from COVID, understanding those rules. So, you know, our good friend, Isaac Clark, a veteran from Vietnam, who got out, now owns his own mortuary services, provided tremendous information to our listeners about that process, because this virus is killing people and we don't know what's going to happen. But how many other veterans are going to be affected by this? So understand that rule. Like Herman said, My Healthy Vet, e-benefits, making sure you have access to your DD Form 214 when that time comes.
And let me add this. We got a new, and by the way, Isaac is a member of Vietnam Veterans too. I just want to throw that in there.
He mentioned that. Yes, he did.
What we got out is a new booklet that guides every veteran with what you're talking about. It's called Paper Safe. Paper Safe. We can have, Herman, I'll send it to you so you can download it and share it. But it's a booklet that gets all of the information that your family should have at that point. Because I have, in the last 3 months, I guess I've had 4 funerals, not COVID related, but veterans, all veterans. And we need to see the families in disarray and in confusion at the point of grief is something that we should really think about. So Isaac is going to be a big help in this movement of getting knowledge out. And we got this little booklet that everybody should take and fill out. You can just fill out all your information and tell you everything you need to have from A to Z.
What's the name of it again?
Paper Safe. Paper Safe. That's what it
Paper?
is. Paper Safe.
Okay, good.
Okay, send it to me.
Okay.
And there are several ways to the veterans listening and their family members. I mean, there are several ways to acquire your DD Form 214, because as a lot of veterans, I know I didn't originally know what my original one was, so I got another one, and you can start with your state Department of Veteran Services, for example, Georgia Department of Veteran Services. If that doesn't work, you can go online and request it through vaarchives.gov. The next thing is to call the archives directly, and I'll give you that number. It is not an 800 number. The number is 314-801-0800. Again, it's 314-801-0800. And before we run out of time, another thing that's going on is about the end is the census. So we want to encourage everyone, if you have fill out your census form, please do so.
Don't be
Let me
apathetic.
add to that, another way you can actually get a DD 214 pretty quickly is by calling VA. If the veteran was established with VA and he's a copy of his DD 214 is in his C file, they can just make a copy and email it to you.
That's good information.
That's very good information. I did not know that. So that's good information to share. Like I said, we tell the truth on this show, and we want to make sure that everyone that listens to us is able to call another veteran or share it with another veteran, the information that they've heard on our show each and every week. So, you know, having you on, Pastor McGhee, you bring on a wealth of knowledge of being a veteran service officer, a Vietnam veteran, a combat veteran, you know, an advocate. We salute you with your Sons of Atlanta monument that is moving forward and getting things done to honor Georgia's veterans that, you know, lost their lives in Vietnam. So
I'd like to encourage people to read my book. It's called Sharp Change, Memoirs of an American Combat Veteran. It talks about the war and the it's a teaching tool. So,
teaching tool. You said Morocco Coleman did the same thing, you know, with his term in the military and how he's become an advocate around the country of supporting people. And I mean, I just salute you because you're the type of individual that helps veterans understand and navigate that bureaucratic maze called a VA. So we salute you for that.
And we normally give out the crisis line in a couple other numbers, and the crisis hotline is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. And the homeless hotline is 1-877-424-3838. Again, 1-877-424-3838. Those are some key numbers. And another one is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. It's the same as the crisis line, 1-800-273-8255. So those are some key numbers that we put out and make them available to veterans, their families, and the community.
You know what? I'd like to make this a little byline statement. And this is in regards to any veteran that tries to get things started with getting benefits and compensations. It's not easy. You're going to have to put in the work. If you don't want to put in the work, then don't expect to get something that you earned. You're going to have to put in the work by getting yourself involved with a Pastor McGhee, with the different veteran service organizations that are third party to the VA system, and earn what get what you've earned. You serve this nation with integrity and duty and honor, but realize that it's not going to come to you easy. You got to put the time in to get it done. It's not going to be a fast process, but if you stay behind it, you'll be rewarded for what you've done, and that's the service to this country. So if you want to get your benefits that you've earned, be prepared to put in the work to get it done.
And add to that, as Rev McGhee mentioned, we've been attempting to form a statewide coalition. We're doing that. But another item is we encourage churches and religious groups to start veteran ministries. We have some churches have that. Athens Church has it, and so we encourage churches to do that, and veterans in the church and the community to get involved in veteran ministries.
Exactly right. Exactly right. The veteran ministry has provided so much information. We've done veteran forums, or both of you gentlemen have been to and provided great information. And then we can go out and just spread, just be like butterflies, populate, the veteran community with information that we know is important to them and their families. So again, put in the work, put in the time, fill out the forms, do what you got to do, and be patient. But if you don't put in the work, you're going to get the results you don't want, and that's nothing.
Well, we would like to thank Reverend McGhee. As they say, the clock on the wall tells me it's 1 o'clock. So have a safe, happy weekend from the Veterans Today group, and we'll see you the next time.
Yep, guys, great time. Pastor McGhee, goodbye. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Reverend McGhee.
Thank you. Good seeing you, Brother Herman.
Right.
Take care, my brother. All right, bye-bye.
All right.